keeping a very close eye on this. Now, along with the tornado warning, we also have some hail up to about nickel size within this storm. We have some heavy rainfall along the I-76 corridor, so it's going to be really tough to travel through this area right now. And we have quite a bit of lightning that stretches all the way up towards Gill, Kiersey, up towards the Greeley area, just off to the south and east there along I-76 is where we are seeing this tornado warning in place. So again, this is out through 3 p.m. After that point, if we're not seeing any more rotation or any more reports of a landspout tornado, we are going to be able to see that warning be dropped after about 3 p.m.
Yeah, all right, Jessica Liddell, thank you so much. So I believe this is the first tornado warning issued so far this year for Colorado. Seeing some pictures on social media of what appears to be a small dust devil or landspout tornado near Keansburg. I think Dave Frazier is with us now, too. Dave, are you there? And can you give us a sense of why conditions are so ripe today for this sort of tornado warning, this radar-spotted tornado out there in Weld County? All right, we're still trying to get Dave's microphone up. Apologies for the harried nature of what's going on here. Obviously, this is what happens when there's tornado warnings. We got on the air just a minute that we heard that this was underway. And if you're just joining us, this warning issued for Weld County on the area of Keansburg, Prospect Valley, and Roggen. A special weather statement is what the National Weather Service called it about 13 minutes ago when they issued this tornado warning. Radar-spotted tornado out there on the eastern plains in Weld County.
But of course, it is spring in Colorado, and this isn't unusual to happen around this time of the year, and it's why we have our meteorologists ready to go. They're at the ready when there is a tornado warning issued, and again, this one will be in place until at least 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yep, again, so this warning issued just a few minutes ago from the National Weather Service. Potential tornado near Keansburg, or 20 miles southeast of Greeley, moving south at 15 miles per hour. They said that it would be near Keansburg around 2:35 p.m. That was about 6 minutes ago. Jessica Bell standing there on the live radar, and so that's the dark red area that we're talking about right there on your radar.
That's exactly right, Jeremy. Really right along that I-76 corridor, you can see this area where there's darker oranges and reds in place. There's quite a bit of lightning. There is some small hail within this thunderstorm, but it is shifting very slowly off towards the south. So again, this is in southeastern Weld County, off to the south and east of the town of Greeley, near Keansburg, along that I-76 corridor. Within the next half hour, it's going to start to slide south into northern Adams County. So we are going to see this push south across the I-76 corridor. And again, there was a confirmed landspout tornado within this thunderstorm. So there's going to be heavy rain. There's going to be lightning that we're dealing with, that hail, and it looks like they have reissued this tornado warning for a little bit of a smaller area. That could mean it is going to be in place for a little bit longer, but we're going to continue to watch this storm. Again, it does have some rotation. It has produced a landspout tornado, so make sure if you live in this area that you're in your tornado safe spot. Just a reminder, that's going to be the lowest level of your house. In an interior room, you want to be away from those windows and doors. This is a strong thunderstorm that's pushing through parts of Weld County this afternoon, and we've been tracking this rotation here since this tornado warning was issued about 15 minutes ago here across the northeastern plains of Colorado. Guys?
Yeah, Jessica, you just mentioned that they changed the size of that tornado warning, or reissued it, I should say, and they have extended it. Originally, it was until 3 p.m. We just learned from the National Weather Service up there in Boulder that it is now extended until 3:15 this afternoon, so at least another 30 minutes. And again, this area, Keansburg, Prospect Valley, is under a tornado warning.
If you see the twister that they are suspecting in that area and can safely do so, feel free to send us a picture at tips@kdvr.com. That's after, of course, you seek safety and shelter. We don't want you in harm's way. Of course, we continue to cover this tornado warning out there in the eastern plains, Weld County, near Keansburg. This radar-spotted tornado that's sparked this morning, the first tornado warning of the year here this spring here in Colorado. The first our weather team on this, obviously, this afternoon as they continue to follow this, and we will get you new developments just as soon as they become available, obviously anytime on the Fox 31 News app and at kdvr.com, and we'll be back at a moment's notice if and when we learn more about what's going on out there.
Reba's 2001 hit about resilience, I'm a Survivor.
very often out ahead of it at this time of year, we can get some brief spin-ups of tornadoes. So if you are in the Prospect Valley or Keensburg area for about the next 30 minutes or so, just kind of be staying right here close to the TV. We'll keep you updated. I always like to say this time of year, boys and girls, if you're home from school, mom and dad are not yet, and you're just catching me on TV, remain calm. Everything will be okay. We're putting this out as a precaution because that storm is showing some signs that it could produce a brief tornado touchdown, but there's not anything at the moment. There is some hail falling on it right along I-76. You can see that little blue area. That is the radar beam bouncing off of the larger hailstones, which really show up bright off of the radar signal when it comes back to the radar. And so we are getting some indications that there could be some hail, perhaps a half an inch or so in diameter on that cell. And as far as the movement, it's not doing a lot of movement at the moment. There's a number of these smaller cells have popped up around the area and may be producing not only some hail, but we may see a little more of this activity as far as rotating thunderstorms and some additional tornado warnings. Let's take a look at the current view. This is from our camera in Fort Morgan, part of our exclusive Viera wireless camera network. We're looking down into that storm to the south and from Fort Morgan area, and so a lot of gray skies out there. Pretty ominous looking, but nothing that's particularly threatening at the moment. Let me go back and I'll just reset this radar picture back for you again and give you an idea of what we're seeing at the moment along the Front Range. The storms are going to continue to pop up throughout the afternoon. There's a look at the temperatures. We have 62 degrees currently in the Denver area out at DIA, but only 46 up at Greeley. So a big temperature contrast going on with this storm system. The areas in the blue are under winter weather advisories. The areas in the pink are under winter storm warnings. And then, of course, typical of Colorado, we have the area right here that is under the tornado warning at the moment. I'm going to just check the latest information coming in on some of our behind-the-scenes services here and show you what's happening there. So I'm going to read the exact text coming from the National Weather Service. This warning first came out just after 2:30 this afternoon. So we have a tornado warning in effect for south central Weld County and north central Adams County until 3 p.m. A severe thunderstorm capable, and that's the key word, capable of producing a tornado, is located near Keensburg, or about 25 miles southeast of Greeley. The storm is drifting slowly south at about 15 miles per hour, and the storm should be around the Keensburg area just about this time. It's near there now, and close to the Prospect Valley area also right around this time. Again, no further updates. So according to the National Weather Service, they're not seeing any indications of spotters seeing a tornado at the present time. One thing I'd like to really talk about this year in severe weather season is if you have friends or family that would be in that area, send them a text or give them a phone call, because they may not be watching TV. But if you just send them a phone call or a text message and say, hey, you might want to turn on Channel 7 because we have some activity going on, and that is very, very helpful. So you know where your friends and family are compared to that little box I'm showing you on the radar screen right now. And do go ahead and just notify them to turn on the TV and pay some attention as to what's going on. Not to panic anybody, because, again, most likely nothing's going to occur out of this. But in my 30-plus years of doing this in the springtime, this is very typical of what we get when we have a large-scale, very dynamic storm coming in that has the snow and the rain now on the plains, and then a lot of rotation in the atmosphere with a strong jet stream that's coming into Colorado, and it's going to sponsor a pretty big storm system for tonight. It's kind of taken the early part of the day. We had some sunshine, made the atmosphere a little less stable, and that's why we're getting some thunderstorms to develop. And so tonight it's going to be a general rain changing over to snow, and that snow will be especially prevalent in the mountains and foothills. Elevations above 6,000 feet should be seeing heavy amounts of snow falling for tonight. I think generally Douglas County, Jefferson County, those areas are going to see some snow that may be several inches, and you get higher up above 7,500 feet, we'd be looking at a foot or more of snow in the foothills and then down to the south. The main energy with this storm looks like it's going to slip a little bit farther south to not really bring that much moisture for Denver Denver and points farther to the north. But we will see, nonetheless, showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Some of them will produce some hail, and you'll hear some of those fresh rumbles of thunder that haven't been very common this spring so far, but we're just getting into that season now as we get closer to May. And at the moment, that one is the spot. It's fairly lightly populated, but certainly not without people living in there in the Prospect Valley and Keensburg area under this tornado warning until 3:15 this afternoon. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and continue to monitor this, and I'll break back in case we have any additional updates coming on this. At the moment, the activity is not really doing much more in other areas around. I'm just going to loop this for you just a little bit here. Put this into a loop over the last 2 hours. And you can kind of tell by the fact that my voice is calm that I'm not particularly too concerned about this cell, but because we are seeing some signs of rotation in the thunderstorm itself. The Doppler radar is very good at picking that out, and I'll give you just a little Doppler lesson since I have the audience right at the moment. So if you have ever listened to a train go by and it goes as the sound of the train goes by, or a race car for that matter, you know that as the race car or the train is moving toward you, of course, the sound waves are coming off of that vehicle and moving toward you, so they're more bunched together. As that vehicle or train moves away, the sound waves are pulled apart. So the pitch, the frequency goes from higher as it's approaching to lower. Well, the radar, which is located right down near DIA, sends out a microwave signal energy that bounces off the rain and the hail and the snow in the storm and then comes back to the radar. And if part of that storm, those particles, are coming toward the radar or going away from the radar, that changes the signal that returns, the pitch, if you will, of those signals that come back to the radar, and we can actually see rotation because of that. We can see what parts of that storm moving toward and away from the radar. And so whenever I say radar indicates a possible tornado, we're seeing that rotation. It doesn't mean that there is a tornado that has dropped down or even a funnel cloud that is formed, but it means that the storm itself is spinning. And those spinning storms, if I ever came to your school and did the tornado dance, we start with the spinning way far apart and then gradually gets closer and closer and closer together, and that's where you can get the formation of a tornado. So for the present time, this is the worst storm we have along the Front Range. There are a few other ones, even with a little bit of hail indicated over here around the Longmont, Firestone area. Temperatures aloft up at, say, 30, 40, even 50,000 feet this time of year are pretty cold because we're still just getting right out of the winter season. And so it's easy on a day that you get some sunshine early to get enough surface heating to make the atmosphere pretty unstable, and hence you get the thunderstorms to develop. If you get just a little bit of shear in the atmosphere, meaning the winds at different heights are going at different speeds or directions, that can give you that rotation that'll form that spinning thunderstorm, and hence the tornado warning. Let me just step back over here, and we'll take a look and see if there's any new information coming in on either social media or from the National Weather Service. My colleague Katie LaSalle is working hard on keeping track of all of that, making sure all of our web information is up to date. And yeah, not really seeing anything that looks all that, let's see. All of that, let's see, is there a land spout maybe? Okay, somebody's seeing perhaps a little bit of a dust up out there in that vicinity of this. And I'll talk a little bit about the land spouts. So we're looking at about County Road 25 and East 144th Avenue out to close to where Weigert Trucking would be up on 152nd Avenue and near County Road 25. A little dust showing up there. What that is if it forms a little bit more what we would call a land spout tornado. And so if you think about this, we have winds coming in at different directions, kind of swirling around here at the surface. A thunderstorm develops, and the updraft of that thunderstorm is pulling in these winds that are swirling around from different directions at the surface and taking it up into the thunderstorm. And so if you imagine you have a big swirling wind at the surface being drawn into the updraft of that thunderstorm, and you actually get a rotation that would be technically a tornado. It's a spinning column, a vertical spinning column of air, probably sucking up some dust out there in the farm fields. And so it's not a classic storm like what you would see as indicated from those massive tornadoes that hit the southeast earlier this spring. This would be a very weak circulation, but technically still a tornado. Now, this is a new warning. It's just come out. That's why it's flashing here. They've dropped it slightly further to the south and to the east, and that's in effect till 3:15. Let me check the text on this, and I'll read that to you. This is brand new coming out just as we're on the air here. So this tornado. Okay, so now we have this, that little spin up I was talking about, according to the National Weather Service. Just moments ago, a confirmed tornado was located 4 miles southwest of Prospect Valley, moving south at 20 miles per hour. So if you are in the vicinity of Prospect Valley, that storm is actually a little bit south of you right at the moment, but still there are some people that are living out in that area, so we want to make sure that you know what to do. And what you want to do is get away from windows and get down into as low a spot as you can. We're probably looking at a spot that is just south of Highway 52 and probably County Road about 73 in that area, moving to the south. And if you live there, you've been through this many times because, boy, there's a lot of these little land spout tornadoes that form in that area. So we have received word that there is, right about here, a small land spout tornado that's on the ground. These typically only last for a few minutes, and generally they'll have winds of 100 miles per hour or less. However, we will continue to monitor this. Tornado warning in effect here until 3:15 this afternoon. This warning is in effect for southern Weld County and northern parts of the Adams County area. And stay with us. We'll keep you up to date on this. I'll be back in a few minutes with some new information.
Social. This